Good afternoon. I'm Ben Stockman, CEO of the Australian Institute of Landscape Architects. Welcome to Beyond.aco, part of an international series of live-streamed events showcasing and celebrating the rich work of Australian registered landscape architects. Today we'll be sharing the Minderup Plaza project from South Perth in Western Australia. But first, I would like to perform an acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge and respect Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples of Australia as the traditional custodians of our lands, waters and seas. We recognise their ability to care for country and their deep spiritual connection with country. We honour elders past and present whose knowledge and wisdom ensure the continuation of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures. I'm joining from Bundjalung Nation in far northern New South Wales. Today's event is the Australian component of a 2-hour international live streaming event held last summer where over 1,000 urban designers logged on, with the majority from Europe. And due to the popularity of the event, it was rerun again to enable more people to view. The Australian component of the presentation created a lot of interest overseas, which is why we believe AILA members should see it in our time zone. We're not showing the other international projects today, but we'll provide a link via our website for those who are interested in seeing the whole presentation. I would like to acknowledge the work of Anna Chavot, not only from a project point of view, but in her support and assisting the production of this video and event. I would also like to thank ACT State Chapter President Steve Kersu, WA State Chapter President Andrew Thomas, and WA State Chapter Manager Carmen Williams for their support also in making this event happen. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank ACO Australia. ACO Australia are proud corporate partners of AILA, and I thank them for their continued support of both AILA and of the profession. Today's showcase is one of the many wonderful projects undertaken by registered landscape architects across Australia each and every year. These projects are celebrated annually through the AILA Awards program. Entries for the 2021 awards have now closed, with most judging at a state level either complete or underway. Award presentations will occur each week throughout Australia between June and the start of July, with the national awards screened online in October. You may have heard me refer to the work of registered landscape architects a number of times today. That is for some very important reasons. In Australia, anyone, irrespective of training or background, can indeed call themselves a landscape architect. However, only those endorsed by AILA can call themselves a registered landscape architect. To earn this title, members must go through a very specific and thorough process to meet strict criteria. This process is something which AILA, along with our membership, are currently reviewing to ensure that it continues to be relevant, robust and recognised for its high standards now and into the future. For landscape architects, having this title differentiates their work from others and provides recognition that they are the best in their field. For clients, engaging a registered landscape architect should give peace of mind that you have chosen the best and that they stand behind the quality and durability of their designs. I'm sure when you view the upcoming video, you too will be impressed with the innovation, attention to detail and quality in design that Anna and the rest of her team have brought to this particular project. We hope you enjoy this as much as we do, and that you will join us post-video to hear from Anna directly and to participate in a Q&A session before we conclude. But for now, sit back with your sandwiches, salad, sushi or sausage roll and enjoy the following video.
Hello and welcome to a warm summer's day here in Sydney. My name is John Sordo and I am delighted to kick off the Australian part of the Beyond series. I'm standing outside of ACO Australia's head office here in Emu Plains, and I would like to start by saying just a few words about ACO in this part of the world. ACO in Australia is part of ACO's global group of companies. As an Australian manufacturer, we employ more than 110 people with customers around Australia, Southeast Asia and the South Pacific. Throughout these regions, we have long-standing relationships with architects who specify our drainage systems, access covers and cable pits. These are products that not only perform key functions to manage surface water and cables, but also they are designed to physically and visually interact with the environment. Specifically, access covers are used extensively on urban pavements and internal floors to enclose cables, pipes and equipment. They can be made invisible so that the designer can preserve the visual continuity of the paving or tile pattern. Well, Perth is on the other side of this continent, 4,000 kilometres away in that direction, way beyond our Blue Mountains here in Sydney. This is where the Connect South Main Street project is located, a powerful case study on how these pavement elements are integrated. I hope you enjoy our short documentary on this fascinating project.
Hi, I'm Andrew Thomas. I'm the WA President of the Australian Institute of Landscape Architects, and I'm coming to you from Minderup Piazza in South Perth. We're directly across the river from the CBD of Perth, and this project was an award-winning project at the 2020 Australian Institute of Landscape Architects Awards program. At a state level it won 2 awards, and at a national level it won the award for tourism. From a tourism point of view, the former Main Street jetty site was always a stopover on the way to the Perth Zoo, which is in South Perth. People used to catch the ferry across the river, stop off here and then transition up the road to the zoo. However, this project has transformed this into a place where people actually come. It's a destination. People can arrive here on the ferry, spend time here and then transition into South Perth. The playful sculptural landmark elements of the site not only attract visitors to the site now in their own, but they also create incredible shade opportunities on days today when it's 37 degrees in Perth. The seamless integration of the project into Main Street and Greater South Perth beyond provides an enviable opportunity for the integration of future events, both night and day, into the space. The jury in the awards program were impressed with the integration of lighting within the project, which further enhances the opportunities for use both day and night. The high level of attention to detail and quality of finishes used sets a precedent for future high-density development in WA.
Well, this is the iconic gateway to South Perth. If you're coming across from the ferry from Elizabeth Quay, this will be the first thing you see. So the beautiful animal canopies, the wonderful works of public art, the thriving, bustling area that you've got here with the cafes and the restaurant. It's a brilliant statement of a place where it's just first class to work, live and play. Well, this has always been a wonderful part of the city, but economic growth had been a little bit sluggish here. It really was being a little bit aged, a little bit dated in terms of what you see across the river at Elizabeth Quay. So the goal was to bring this piazza into the modern era, make it a real destination, a real draw card for locals, for residents and visitors alike. And I very much think we've achieved that.
Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you in Western Australia one day. If not physically, then maybe virtually at the Australian Institute of Landscape Architects Festival of Landscape Architecture, which is being held in Perth in October this year.
Hi Anna.
Hi Steve.
Thanks for taking time to talk to us about Minderup Piazza today. Really excited to hear about how this project went and your role in it. So do you want to start by telling us a bit about Place Laboratory and what you did on this job?
Well, Place Laboratory were the lead consultant for the Minderup Piazza. We were actually engaged by the City of South Perth, and we had a team of engineers and architects and lighting engineers actually working with us to be able to deliver the project. Place Laboratory really have a very people-focused approach to design, so we really want to understand who is actually going to use the site and what their experiences are going to be. And so we really did a deep dive into trying to understand what those experiences were and how people were going to engage with the site. Part of that process was actually meeting with the community, and we actually had quite a few meetings with school children, business owners, local residents to really understand what they actually valued of the South Perth foreshore. And I got to tell you one story from one of the really early on events, and we go into these workshops with a very genuine approach, and we don't even have pen to paper at that point in time. We're really just listening to ideas.
So very early, very at the beginning.
Right at the beginning. And at this one meeting, there was a young girl. She was about 8 years old, and she was being encouraged by her brothers.
Oh, God. Love older brothers, don't you?
Older brothers.
Yeah.
And she stood up in front of the whole room. There was probably about 30 or 40 people there, and actually explained her vision for Minderup Piazza. And what she wanted to see was a really large animal in the space that could be seen from the other side of the river, and that would actually signify and be a symbol of South Perth. And I suppose she planted a seed of an idea in the consultant team's approach to the concept design that later on became the large animal shelters that we have in the space.
The animals seem really integral to the design aesthetic and narrative for this project, right down into the paving. Do you want to tell us more about how that works into the scheme?
Well, the city were really keen to have a very large expanse of paving, and we've worked on some fairly complex projects in the past, and so we really applied lessons learned into this project, and we wanted to have a very detailed paving pattern, make it seem almost effortless in its actual visual appearance and aesthetic.
Perennial aspiration of the landscape architect to make the paving look effortless.
Yeah. So it actually is quite a complex paving pattern because it is the scales of a snake,
okay,
and it moves through umbra of different colours drawn from the West Australian landscape. We just wanted it to look like one plane, and so that really was influencing our selection of materials and in particular how we actually dealt with services in the ground and then also drainage. And if you just imagine that this piazza is sitting right next to the river, and it's a tidal river, so we get quite a lot of fluctuation in the water, and then quite often when it's high tide we're also getting wave surge that's actually topping over the seawall into the piazza. And so we actually had to think about technical ways of actually dealing with the drainage, because we have drainage that would be coming off the side as well as drainage that was actually coming from the water. And so that's where we use the inline grates through the paving pattern to make sure that we could actually take the water away from the piazza as quickly as possible.
So with such a complex paving design, in-ground services, drainage, how did ACO help you meet those challenges in this project?
I have to admit that we use ACO products on lots of different projects, and so we would go to ACO and we would talk about the different situations that we actually have on the site, and then they would help us select the best product for that situation. And so in Minderup Piazza we have quite a lot of services, but we don't want to see those service pits on the surface because we've got this very intricate pattern, and so they would select the right in-ground grate for us, and that also applies to the inline drainage as well.
And the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, it's a pretty seamless result.
Thanks, Anna. And so how do you think that this project is successful?
Well, I think that the success factors firstly is that we had a very courageous client, and it really makes such a difference when you've got a great client that's really invested in the vision and wants to do something different. So that's number one. That's a very big plus. The second thing was that we actually had a really great team, and we had a team of architects, engineers, lighting designers, and then we also had quite a lot of public artists working with us. And really they were the ones that enabled the vision to be actually fulfilled. And then the third success factor is really about the products and the people that we used to actually help us be able to deliver such a seamless design. The contractor was fantastic, no problem, was too small and
Love it when they behave that way.
Or too big.
It's always
Yep.
good.
Yep. And I think that the final success factor is really the joy of actually going to the place, to Minderup Piazza, and actually seeing all those people there that absolutely loving the space and being really connected to it, and that's great. When you see people happy and smiling just because they're in a landscape space is fantastic.
Thank you for that. I'm sure, as well as myself and everyone else watching, you enjoyed that feature immensely. I'd now like to introduce Anna Chevelle, the founder of Place Laboratory and the project director for the Minderup Piazza, to tell us a little bit more about her involvement and a little bit more about the project. So welcome, Anna.
Oh, thanks, Ben. I'm coming here from Ngunnawal country in Canberra. And I suppose I'd just like to take this opportunity to actually acknowledge my co-director. Her name is Schlemit Strom. And while I have been very much involved in the design direction for Minderup Piazza and the community consultation, is that she had the challenging task of actually managing the documentation and the delivery of the project, and so she is as much about the success as the project as the rest of the team. I just wanted to quickly say that I graduated from the University of New South Wales in 1991, so 30 years ago, and I pretty much have been involved with AILA ever since I graduated, and have been a registered landscape architect for roughly 20 years, and it's been really rewarding, and I'm really glad to have the opportunity to actually give back to the Institute whenever possible. I just had a couple of other sort of interesting sort of facts to share with you about the project. Is one actually, which is quite unusual, is that the majority of the people that were leading the project were actually women, and so from the city of South Perth we had several women that were actually the project managers and running the community consultation. We had Marion Fredrickson as the vision keeper, and we also had Tracy McKay from NS Projects actually undertaking the contract administration. And so I think it's actually wonderful that we can have so many women working together to create such a wonderful project. We had some challenges along the way. We actually had some fairly vocal community members who were very opposed to having trees on the site because of their $1 million views, and that required a fair amount of negotiation. But equally, we've had some wonderful successes. I think that the artwork has been absolutely amazing, and we had Yondi Shane Hansen with Art Plus do a wonderful audio-visual light show. We had Susan Fabell doing with her emus, and Michaela Castleton and those the unforgettable meerkats. Also, the material selection has been a really great success for us. It's really proven to actually fit very well with the idea of the piazza, and I think that the final success has been how well the community have embraced the piazza. There were many times when we didn't really know which way it was going to go, and but absolutely everyone loves it and enjoys it. So thank you so much for joining, everybody.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Now it really gives me great pleasure to introduce a wonderful friend of Ayla, John Sordo, who is Manager of Marketing and Product Management for ACO Australia. Welcome, John.
So, yeah, thank you, Ben, and hi, everyone. First, I would like to say that we as ACO are a proud supporting corporate partner of Ayla, and we've been since 2016, we've been supporting the association. We're also delighted to show our support by showcasing projects like this. And as Ben mentioned, in summer, we were able to live stream this event to over 1,000 designers around the world who showed immense interest in Anna's project. And so we thought it was only fitting that we'd stream it again during a more friendly time zone for Australians. So if you like it, we're going to leave a recording of this event on our landing page from next week for you to share. Before we go to any questions, I'd like to mention a couple of things. You should all now see Ayla's landing page on your screen. As part of Ayla's CPD program, we will conduct a series of accredited presentations to landscape architects through Ayla's official webinars. So next week's webinar will co-feature Matt Nolan, the practice director at LAT 27, and he'll be speaking about two different projects. In one, he'll show how pavement elements were integrated into a heavy-duty event space, and in another project, how he integrated some signature customized stainless steel floor elements into his design. So the CPD course is there to guide designers into achieving walkable pavements in public areas through the correct integration of surface water management systems and service pits for flat drainable pavements. So it will leave you with an appreciation of the things like slot criteria for grates, slip resistance, loading, durability, and access for maintenance. And Ayla will award 2 formal CPD points, and it's free to join. So I'll send you all a link to register. There should now be another landing page on your screen. I want to take this opportunity to remind you that we also offer services to help you integrate pavement elements into your designs. Ask ACO is our initiative designed around project advice. These are design services that are offered free of charge and obligation with tailored project-specific recommendations, all designed to make your day-to-day lives easier. We can help with everything from surface water collection and storage and detention and infiltration right through to the integration of cable, service pits and access covers. And I'll also send you a link to this page. So now we're at a point where we can ask questions, and I encourage you to do so. I have a question for Anna, if I could start things. So Anna, from the point of view of pedestrian safety and the maintenance of services running through the piazza, I'm interested to hear what the project objectives were relating to the pavement and the pavement elements.
I've been given notes, okay, from Schlemit. So, so really, the pavement is one of the main features of the space, and we have a fairly intricate paving pattern, which is actually developed from the idea of a snake skin, actually, and it's we've used a natural stone with like these quite subtle sort of colour variations through it. All of the stones haven't exfoliated or sandblasted or flamed finish to actually make sure that we meet the slip resistant requirements. And We also require the contractor to actually test that throughout the project, as well as setting up a test panel before we actually we pave the whole area. In terms of the ACO products, we used an infill cover and frame that where the paving could be installed. The paving material could be installed into it, and they're generally a class C or D, depending on whether it's going to be a heavy trafficable area or just a pedestrian area. That's really, I think that just a couple of the other key points are that, you know, the main path of travel is fairly clearly designed or defined, I should say, and that we use the 30% colour variance and bollards where we need to actually indicate that the pedestrian area is changing into a shared space, and the main pedestrian thoroughfare is treated as a shared zone, so it's a very low traffic to allow people to kind of just walk through that space. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So there doesn't seem to be any questions. We can conclude, I suppose, that the material we've shared with everyone today has been very comprehensive. So before handing back to Ben, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Anna, obviously for sharing your experience and your knowledge with us, and obviously helping us prepare for this event and the global event we had in summer. So thank you very much, Anna, and I hope one day to meet you in person. I'll make the track down to Canberra and thank you in person. And Ben, I just want to thank you and your team also for your support, being so positive and so flexible throughout this campaign. So thank you, Ben, and I'll hand back to you now.
Thanks very much, John. Always a pleasure to be able to promote the fabulous work of AILA's wonderful membership. So that concludes today's session. We hope you've enjoyed it. We've hope that you've inspired you. We hope you will go to the ACO landing page to follow up on the link for the full event to get an indication of what your design professional colleagues around the globe are undertaking. I'd like to thank John for assisting to coordinate this event via ACO. I'd like to thank, obviously, Anna for her stepping out of her comfort zone and being involved in such a wonderful project as this, and of course to all of those other talent within the video itself. Thank you very much, and we'd like to thank you all for joining and hope you can join for the rest of the series. Thank you.
Thank you.